Thunder rumbled in the distance as Leon Hayes balanced precariously on his ladder, squinting at the growing patch of water damage on his roof. Dark clouds loomed on the horizon, threatening to derail his DIY repair attempts yet again. At 28, he'd thought buying a fixer-upper in the suburbs would be a smart investment. Now, 3 months into home ownership, he was seriously questioning that logic. "Come on, you leaky bastard," he muttered, pressing a hand against the suspicious-looking shingles. Water seeped through, dampening his palm. Great. Just great. His phone buzzed in his pocket. Leon fumbled it out while trying to maintain his balance, recognizing his boss's number. "Hayes speaking," he answered, wedging the phone between his ear and shoulder as he pulled out his measuring tape. "Leon, those server migration specs were due an hour ago." Marcus's voice crackled with static, or maybe just irritation. "Almost done, sir. Just dealing with some house emergencies." Working remotely means actually working, Hayes, not playing handyman. "Yes, sir, you'll have them in—" A fat raindrop splashed onto his nose. 30 minutes. The call ended with Marcus's trademark grunt. Leon sighed, shoving his phone back into his jeans. The wind picked up, rattling the ladder. "Time to admit defeat," he announced to no one in particular. His neighbors had probably already labeled him as the weird guy who talked to himself while doing home repairs. Mrs. Abernathy next door definitely had. He'd caught her peering through her blinds more than once. Just as Leon started his descent, a high-pitched whine cut through the air. He looked up, expecting a low-flying plane. Instead, the clouds above his house had taken on an unusual purple tinge. The whine intensified, becoming a physical pressure against his eardrums. "What the—" The sky ripped open. Purple light exploded outward as someone, plummeted through the tear in reality. Leon barely had time to register a flash of violet skin and flowing white hair before the figure crashed through his roof, taking a good portion of his recent repairs with him. The impact knocked him off balance. Leon tumbled backward, managing to grab the gutter on his way down. He dangled there for a moment, heart pounding, before dropping the remaining few feet to his lawn. "Insurance better cover this," he groaned, pushing himself up. "Though I seriously doubt mysterious purple sky portal is in the fine print." Leon burst through his front door, following the trail of debris to his living room. There, sprawled elegantly on his hardwood floor, amidst a shower of plaster and broken timber, lay the most beautiful woman he'd ever seen. If you could call her a woman, her skin was a deep violet, marked with swirling patterns that seemed to shift in the light. Her hair floated around her face as if suspended in water, pure white with hints of iridescence. And her eyes, they literally glowed, casting soft blue light across her ethereal features. She propped herself up on her elbows, brushing drywall dust from her form-fitting jumpsuit with a graceful movement. "Oh, there you are, my fortuitous savior." Her voice carried a musical lilt, each word precise yet flowing. Her skin brightened to a warm fuchsia as she beamed at him. "I must say, your gravitational compensation could use some work. The landing was rather rough." Leon's mouth opened and closed several times before he managed, You just crashed through my roof." "Did I?" She glanced up at the hole above them, where rain now pattered through freely. "How charmingly primitive. Is this your designated entry port?" "It's my roof, my very expensive, just partially repaired roof." "Ah," she nodded sagely, rising to her feet with impossible grace. "A traditional earth-dwelling protection system. How quaint." She approached him, moving with fluid motions that seemed to defy gravity. "I am Zirana, third daughter of the stellar houses. And you," she reached out to tap his nose playfully, "are now my husband." Leon took a step back, nearly tripping over a fallen ceiling beam. "I'm your what now?" "My husband." Zirana clapped her hands together, her skin pulsing with waves of rosy light. According to Section 7, subsection 3.14 of the ancient Galactic Consortium marriage laws, when a noble daughter of the stellar houses is rescued by an unmarried male of suitable age and status, they are automatically bound in matrimony. That's not how things work here on Earth," Leon protested, watching in fascination as her skin shifted through various shades of purple. "We have dating and courtship and actual marriage ceremonies." "Oh, my sweet provincial husband," Zorana cooed, patting his cheek affectionately. "That's exactly what a good spouse would say. Now I simply must prepare you a traditional post-binding meal. Where is your matter replication unit?" Before Leon could respond, she had already glided into his kitchen. He followed, watching in horror as she approached his microwave with determined curiosity. Ah, how delightfully retro! She began pressing buttons randomly, causing the appliance to emit alarming beeps. With some minor modifications, this should suffice for creating a proper Stellar House's breakfast feast. "Wait, don't!" Leon lunged forward as she somehow managed to make the microwave's display show symbols he'd never seen before. The machine hummed ominously, emitting a purple glow similar to the portal she'd fallen through. "Just a small adjustment to the quantum resonance frequency," Zorana mused, her fingers dancing over the keypad. The microwave sparked dramatically, followed by a small explosion that filled the kitchen with sweet-smelling purple smoke. When it cleared, Zorana stood there looking slightly singed, but thoroughly pleased with herself. "Perhaps your Earth technology requires more substantial modifications than I anticipated," she admitted, brushing a piece of microwave shrapnel from her shoulder. "No matter. We have more pressing concerns, my dear husband. Like the fact that you destroyed my microwave, or the hole in my roof, or maybe the whole marriage thing that I definitely didn't agree to." Zorana's skin darkened to a deep indigo, her expression growing serious. "Actually, I was referring to the pursuit drones that followed me through the portal. They should be arriving any moment now." As if on cue, a low buzzing sound filled the air outside. Leon rushed to the window, his heart sinking as he spotted several metallic spheres hovering over his neighborhood, scanning methodically with beams of red light. "Pursuit drones?" he asked weakly. "Yes, sent by my former fiancé, Vexthor," Zorana explained, her lip curling in disgust. "He's rather upset that I chose to flee our arranged marriage. Apparently, being the wealthiest corporate mogul in three-star systems doesn't give one the right to simply purchase a bride." "Former fiancé? Corporate mogul? Look, I think there's been a huge misunderstanding." Zorana placed a finger against his lips, silencing him. Her skin had taken on a warm, gentle purple hue. "I understand this is all very sudden, but I chose this location, this moment, for a reason. I've been monitoring Earth's transmissions for years, studying your culture, your people, and you, Leon Hayes, with your dedication to rebuilding this dwelling, your quiet determination, your kind heart that you try so hard to hide behind sarcasm. You are exactly the kind of partner I've been looking for." Leon stared at her, suddenly aware of how close she was standing. Her bioluminescent eyes seemed to peer right through him, filled with an intelligence and warmth that made his protests die in his throat. The drone buzzing grew louder. "They're getting closer," Zorana whispered. "We should probably—" A red beam swept through the kitchen window, causing her to pull Leon down behind the counter. Outside, Mrs. Abernathy's voice carried across the yard. "Mr. Hayes, is everything all right over there? I could have sworn I saw a purple lady fall through your roof." "Just a regular day," Leon called back, somehow managing to keep his voice steady. "Doing some remodeling." Zorana suppressed a giggle, her skin flickering with amusement. "Your neighbor seems quite observant, though I suppose a woman falling from a portal in the sky isn't exactly subtle." "About that," Leon said, trying to ignore how his heart raced from more than just the adrenaline of their situation. "If we're actually married according to your laws, doesn't that mean I have some say in this relationship?" "Of course, my dear husband." Her face lit up, quite literally. "What would you like to discuss? Our living arrangements? The coordination of our quantum resonance patterns? The traditional post-marriage ritual of—" Another explosion rocked the house as one of the drones fired at the roof, widening the existing hole. "How about we start with a plan to deal with your ex's killer robots?" Leon suggested. Zorana beamed at him, her skin glowing with a fierce pink light. "See? You're already thinking like a proper Stellar House's spouse. I knew I chose well." She peeked over the counter, assessing the situation. "First, we'll need to create a localized electromagnetic pulse to disable their tracking systems. Do you have any spare toasters?" Leon looked at his alien wife, and wasn't that a phrase he never thought he'd use? and realized his life had just become infinitely more complicated. And somehow, despite the property damage, marriage laws, and imminent danger, he wasn't entirely sure that was a bad thing. "The toaster's in the cabinet behind you," he sighed. "Please try not to blow this one up." "No promises, husband dear," Zorana winked, her skin swirling with patterns of excitement. "No promises at all." Zorana rummaged through the cabinet, pulling out not just the toaster, but also a blender and Leon's prized coffee maker. Her hands moved with practiced efficiency as she began dismantling them on the kitchen floor. "You know," Leon said, watching his appliances being transformed into what looked suspiciously like a weapon. "When I woke up this morning, I really didn't expect to end the day married to an alien fugitive. And I didn't expect to find such a charming husband on this delightfully backward planet," Zorana replied, her skin rippling with amusement. "Life is full of wonderful surprises, isn't it?" Another blast from the drones rattled the windows. Leon peered cautiously around the kitchen doorframe. 3 metallic spheres hovered outside, their red scanning beams sweeping methodically across his house. "They're getting closer," he reported. "Whatever you're building, maybe build faster?" "Patience, dear husband. Quantum engineering cannot be rushed." Zorana's tongue poked out slightly as she concentrated, connecting wires with precise movements. "Though I must say, your Earth technology is fascinatingly primitive. It's like trying to build a stellar drive out of rocks and sticks. Hey, that primitive coffee maker cost me $200, and now it's part of a device that will save our lives? I'd say that's a significant upgrade in value." She held up her creation, a bizarre amalgamation of kitchen appliances that hummed with an ominous purple glow. "There, a crude but functional EMP generator. Now we just need to—" A red beam sliced through the kitchen wall, missing Zorana's head by inches. She ducked, her skin flickering to a darker shade of violet. "Okay, time for Plan B," she announced, grabbing Leon's hand. Her skin was surprisingly warm, almost vibrating with energy. "Run!" They bolted from the kitchen just as another blast destroyed what remained of his appliance collection. Leon led them toward the basement door, his mind racing through options. "Wait," he panted as they descended the stairs. "Won't they just follow us down here?" "Oh, absolutely," Zorana said cheerfully. "But basements are excellent for setting traps. You have more tools down here, yes? Perhaps a washing machine we could repurpose?" "You are not dismantling my washer and dryer." Leon paused. "Why are you looking at my water heater like that?" Zorana's eyes glowed brighter as she approached the water heater, her skin taking on an excited pink hue. "With some minor modifications, we could create a localized gravity well. That would definitely discourage pursuit." "A gravity what now?" "It's quite simple, really. We just need to reverse the polarity of the heating elements while simultaneously—" She stopped, noticing his blank expression. "Never mind the technical details. Just help me disconnect these pipes." Above them, the sounds of drones entering the house grew louder. Leon grabbed his toolbox and started working on the pipes, trying not to think about how much all this property damage was going to cost him. "So," he said, attempting to distract himself from their impending doom, "about this marriage thing, don't I get any say in it?" "Of course you do!" Zorana's hands moved blur fast as she modified the water heater's internal components. "You can choose our anniversary celebration location, our quantum resonance synchronization schedule, even the color scheme for our unified aura manifestation ceremony." "That's, not exactly what I meant." She paused her work, her skin dimming to a softer purple as she met his eyes. "You're wondering why I chose you." The thought had crossed my mind, yeah. I mean, you're this advanced alien noble who could probably have anyone in the galaxy, and I'm just a guy who can't even fix his own roof. But that's precisely why you're perfect. Her skin brightened again as she gestured enthusiastically. You see a problem, and instead of using advanced technology or calling for help, you climb up there yourself and try to fix it. That shows initiative, resourcefulness, determination, all highly valued traits in a stellar house's spouse. I'm pretty sure it just shows I'm cheap and stubborn. "Those too," she agreed with a musical laugh. "But mostly it shows character. Besides ... her skin flushed a deeper pink. "I may have been monitoring your video blogs about renovating this house. Your passion for restoration, Your dedication to preserving its history while making it your own? It's quite attractive. Leon felt his face heat up. You watch my renovation videos? Oh, yes. The one where you spent 20 minutes ranting about the previous owner's questionable wiring choices was particularly entertaining. Your frustrated hand gestures were most expressive. A metallic thunk from upstairs interrupted what was becoming a surprisingly flattering conversation. The drones had reached the basement door. Almost done, Zorana muttered, making a final adjustment to the water heater. Now we just need to... The basement door exploded inward. 3 drones descended the stairs, their red scanning beams fixing on Zorana. Objective located, boomed an artificial voice. Return to Vexthor Industries for marriage processing. Oh, go process yourself, Zorana snapped, her skin flickering with irritation. She slapped the modified water heater, which began emitting a high-pitched whine. Leon, dear, you might want to hold on to something. What? Why would I... The water heater pulsed with purple energy. Suddenly, gravity seemed to reverse itself. Leon found himself floating upward, along with everything else in the basement that wasn't bolted down. The drones, caught in the effect, spun wildly as their stabilization systems failed. Fascinating, Zorana exclaimed, gracefully swimming through the air toward him. I wasn't entirely sure that would work. Earth physics are so charmingly inconsistent. That's great, Leon managed, clinging to a ceiling beam. Really fascinating. Could we maybe turn gravity back on now? In a moment. First ... She pulled a small device from her jumpsuit and aimed it at the malfunctioning drones. A pulse of energy shot out, causing them to spark and go dark. There! That should buy us some time before Vexthor sends more. The gravity well collapsed as suddenly as it had appeared. Everything, and everyone, crashed back to the basement floor. Leon landed on a pile of laundry he'd meant to wash, while Zorana somehow managed to make even falling look elegant. Are you all right? She rushed to his side, her skin shifting to worried lavender. I probably should have warned you about the gravity modifications. It's just that you look so adorable when you're surprised. Leon sat up, rubbing his head. I'm fine, but we need to talk about this marriage thing, and the property damage thing, and definitely the turning my basement into a physics experiment thing. Of course, my thoughtful husband. Communication is vital for any relationship, especially one formed through accidental architectural damage and impromptu gravity manipulation. She helped him to his feet, her skin warm against his hand. But perhaps we should continue this discussion somewhere else? Vexthor will definitely send more drones, and I'd rather not destroy any more of your appliances. Where exactly did you have in mind? Zorana's eyes sparkled mischievously. Well, I did notice a rather charming coffee shop in town during my surveillance, and since I may have accidentally disassembled your coffee maker... You owe me several cups of coffee, Leon agreed. But first we should probably do something about that hole in my roof. It's still raining. Oh, that's simple enough to fix. She pulled another device from her jumpsuit. This molecular restructuring beam should... No! Leon grabbed her hand before she could point the device upward. No more alien technology on my house. We're doing this the Earth way, with tarps and staples. Zorana's skin rippled with delight. So practical, so primitive. This is exactly why I chose you. She tucked the device away and batted her luminescent eyes at him. Will you teach me how to use these staples you speak of? Looking at her eager expression, Leon couldn't help but smile. His life had definitely taken a turn for the weird, but somehow watching an alien princess get excited about basic home repair didn't seem like the worst thing that could happen to a guy. Fine, he sighed, but after we fix the roof, we're having a long talk about Earth marriage customs, and you're buying the coffee. Deal. She kissed his cheek, leaving a tingling sensation and a faint purple glow that took several minutes to fade. Now, about these staples, do they require quantum alignment, or is it more of a kinetic impact situation? Leon looked at the destroyed basement, the unconscious drones, and his beautiful alien wife bouncing excitedly at the prospect of learning about hardware supplies. Sometimes, he reflected, the universe had a weird sense of humor, but at least it would make for an interesting renovation video. The Home Depot parking lot buzzed with early morning activity as Leon pushed a cart loaded with tarps, staples, and enough repair supplies to fix a small house. Or in his case, one alien-sized hole in the roof. "This is fascinating." Zorana bounced alongside him, her white hair now tucked under a baseball cap he'd lent her. Her violet skin had been explained away to several startled employees as really committed cosplay. "Your species still requires physical merchants for resource acquisition? How charmingly inefficient." "Keep your voice down," Leon muttered, noticing a couple giving them odd looks. "And yes, we still shop in person. Not everyone has matter replicators. But surely you could improve the process. For instance, that checkout system could easily be upgraded with quantum scanning technology. I have some spare parts in my—" "No!" Leon grabbed her hand before she could reach into her jumpsuit's hidden pocket. "No more upgrades. My microwave is still glowing purple." Her skin rippled with amusement at his touch. "Speaking of upgrades, we should discuss our biorhythm synchronization schedule. As your wife, it's my duty to ensure our quantum frequencies align properly." "Is that some kind of alien euphemism?" "Don't be ridiculous, husband dear." She picked up a hammer, examining it with scientific curiosity. "It's a complex series of metaphysical exercises involving precise molecular vibration patterns and occasionally interpretive dance." Leon snatched the hammer before she could test its quantum resonance. "We're here to fix the roof. That's it. No quantum physics, no alien technology, and definitely no interpretive dance." "Party pooper," Zorana pouted, her skin darkening to a moody indigo. "You know, most men would be thrilled to have an alien princess teaching them advanced scientific principles through the art of movement. Most men haven't had their houses partially destroyed by said princess's angry ex-fiancé." "True." She brightened suddenly, her skin shifting to an excited pink. "Oh, we should get some of these fairy lights I've seen in Earth transmissions. They'd make excellent camouflage for the security grid I'm planning to install." "No security grids," Leon said firmly, steering their cart toward checkout. "The HOA would have a fit." "The what?" "Homeowners Association. They're scarier than any alien bounty hunters." Zorana's eyes widened with interest. "A terrestrial power structure more intimidating than Vexthor's corporate empire? I must study this phenomenon." Before Leon could explain why that was a terrible idea, a familiar voice called out across the parking lot. "Mr. Hayes, what a coincidence." Leon froze. Mrs. Abernathy, his ever-watchful neighbor, was power-walking toward them with determined enthusiasm. "Quick," he whispered to Zorana. "Act normal." "Define normal," she whispered back, her skin cycling through nervous color patterns. "Just try not to glow." Mrs. Abernathy reached them, her sharp eyes taking in their cart full of supplies and Zorana's partially concealed appearance. "I could have sworn I saw the strangest lights coming from your house last night. And was that some kind of explosion in your basement?" "Home improvement project gone wrong," Leon said quickly. "You know how these old houses can be." "Mm-hmm." Mrs. Abernathy's gaze fixed on Zorana. "And who might this be?" "I'm his wife," Zorana declared before Leon could stop her. Her skin brightened with pride despite her attempts to control it. "We were joined under the ancient laws of the Galactic Costume Convention," Leon interrupted. "We met at a costume convention. She's really committed to her character. You know these comic book fans." Mrs. Abernathy's eyes narrowed. "Funny, I don't recall seeing any wedding." "It was very small," Leon said. "Very quantum," Zorana added helpfully. "Well then," Mrs. Abernathy sniffed, "I suppose congratulations are in order. Though I must say, Mr. Hayes' purple body paint seems a bit extreme for married life." "Oh, this isn't paint," Zorana began. "It's actually a bioluminescent." Leon practically shoved their cart between them. "We really need to get going. Those repairs won't fix themselves." "Unlike your microwave, which appears to be fixing itself in interesting ways," Mrs. Abernathy commented. "I saw it floating past my kitchen window this morning." That's impossible," Leon stammered. "Clearly," Mrs. Abernathy agreed with a knowing smile. "Just like it's impossible that I saw someone doing anti-gravity yoga in your backyard at 3 a.m. I was merely attempting to establish communication with passing satellites," Zorana explained. The inverted positions help align the neural frequencies for "Goodbye, Mrs. Abernathy," Leon called, pushing their cart toward his truck at record speed. "Thanks for stopping by." As they loaded the supplies, he could feel their neighbor's gaze boring into his back. Zorana waved cheerfully at her skin glowing with friendly pink pulses. "I like her," she declared as they drove away. "She has excellent observational skills for a primitive life form." "That's exactly the problem," Leon groaned. "She sees everything, and now she knows something's up." "Is that bad?" "Let's just say if the HOA finds out I'm harboring an alien fugitive, they'll make your ex's bounty hunters look gentle." Zorana's eyes lit up, literally. "Perhaps we should invite her to our biorhythm synchronization session. I could teach her the quantum tango." "No one is learning the quantum tango," Leon said firmly, though he couldn't help smiling at her enthusiasm. "Right now, we need to focus on fixing the roof before it rains again." "And then," she leaned closer, her skin warming to a soft lavender, "will you finally let me explain the fascinating principles of cross-dimensional physics over dinner?" Leon glanced at Zorana as he drove, watching the sunlight play across her violet skin. Despite himself, he found his thoughts drifting to how drastically his life had changed in just 24 hours. Before the beautiful alien crashed through his roof, his days had followed a mind-numbing routine. Wake up, work remotely, tinker with house repairs, sleep, repeat. After Astrid had ended their 2-year relationship 6 months ago, he'd thrown himself into buying this fixer-upper, using home renovation as an excuse to withdraw from the world. His renovation vlogs had become his only real connection to other people. Now here he was, with an alien princess in his passenger seat. Her presence somehow making even a simple Home Depot run feel like an adventure. "You're thinking very loudly," Zorana observed, her skin shifting to a perceptive, deep purple. "Your biorhythms are all scattered. Is everything all right?" "Just processing," he admitted. "Yesterday I was worried about leak in my roof. Now I'm helping an alien princess hide from her ex-fiance's killer robots. It's a bit of an adjustment." "Change can be difficult," she agreed, her tone surprisingly gentle. "On my world, I was trapped in an arranged marriage. Every moment of my life planned out by others. Then I saw your videos." Her skin flushed a warm pink. "You seemed so free, creating something with your own hands, making your own choices, even if they weren't perfect." "You really watched all my renovation videos?" "Oh, yes. I particularly enjoyed the one where you spent 15 minutes trying to figure out why the bathroom light wouldn't work, only to discover you'd forgotten to put in a bulb." Her laugh was like wind chimes. "Your frustrated face was adorable." Leon felt his cheeks heat up. "Not my finest moment. But it was real," she insisted. "No pretense, no political maneuvering, just pure, honest. What's that Earth phrase? Ah, yes, or getting shit done." He couldn't help laughing. "Pretty sure that's not in the standard Galactic diplomatic phrasebook. I may have picked up some colorful language from your videos." Her skin rippled with mischief, especially the one about the previous owner's nightmare fuel wiring job. That was a valid safety concern. "Of course, dear husband." She patted his arm, sending tingles up his spine. "Your passion for proper electrical configuration is very attractive." Leon nearly missed their turn, distracted by the way her touch seemed to resonate through him. It was becoming harder to remember why he'd been so resistant to this whole galactic marriage thing. Sure, she'd destroyed his microwave and turned his basement into a temporary anti-gravity chamber, but she'd also brought more life and excitement to his world in one day than he'd experienced in the past 6 months. After Astrid left, claiming he was too focused on his projects and not spontaneous enough, Leon had retreated into his renovation work like a shell. Each DIY project became another brick in the wall he'd built around himself. But now, watching Zorana's skin shimmer with excitement over something as simple as a hardware store run, he felt those walls beginning to crumble. They pulled into his driveway and Zorana immediately bounced out to inspect their supplies. "These materials are so delightfully primitive. Are you sure we can't enhance them with just a tiny bit of quantum stabilization?" "Absolutely sure," he said, but found himself smiling at her enthusiasm. "Though I admit, watching you try to understand Earth technology is pretty entertaining." "Oh," She stepped closer, her skin glowing with a warm, inviting light. And here I thought I was the one studying fascinating new life forms. Are you calling me a science experiment? More like a wonderful discovery. Her fingers traced the air near his face, leaving faint trails of purple light, one I'm very much enjoying learning about. The moment was interrupted by a loud crash from inside the house, followed by unfamiliar electronic humming. About that microwave, Zorana said, her skin flickering with embarrassment. I may have accidentally given it limited self-awareness while trying to fix it. Leon stared at her. You made my microwave sentient? Only a little. And it seems quite fond of you. It's been trying to make you the perfect cup of coffee all morning. I think it's trying to compete with your coffee maker for your affection. As if on cue, the microwave floated past the kitchen window, trailing coffee grounds and purple energy. It made what sounded suspiciously like a purring noise as it passed. We should probably deal with that before Mrs. Abernathy notices, Leon sighed. Though I have to admit, a sentient appliance is not the strangest thing that's happened since you crashed into my life. Look at you, embracing the chaos! Zorana clapped her hands delightedly, her skin pulsing with swirls of joyful pink. We'll make a proper galactic citizen out of you yet. Just wait until we start our quantum physics lessons. I have this wonderful interpretive dance planned to explain string theory. Inside the house, they found the microwave hovering near the ceiling, attempting to perfect its coffee-making algorithm by combining various kitchen ingredients. The counter was covered in failed experiments. Is that my leftover pizza mixed with coffee grounds? Leon asked, horrified. It's being creative, Zorana defended, though perhaps its understanding of human dietary preferences needs some adjustment. She approached the microwave, speaking to it soothingly in what sounded like musical tones. The appliance hummed back, descending slightly. You can communicate with it? Of course! All quantum-enhanced beings share a basic resonance frequency. Though I must say, your microwave has developed quite a personality. It seems to have inherited your perfectionist tendencies. The microwave beeped indignantly and released another shower of coffee grounds. I am not a perfectionist, Leon protested. I just like things done right. Both Zorana and the microwave made sounds that could only be described as skeptical. Fine, online, he conceded, but at least my perfectionism never made appliances achieve consciousness. No, it just led to you making 30-minute videos about proper grout application. Zorana's skin rippled with affectionate teasing, which, by the way, were surprisingly engaging, especially the part where you got so excited about finding the perfect sealant that you knocked over an entire bucket. Leon felt warmth spread across his face. You really did watch all of them. Of course I did. She turned to face him, her expression softening. While everyone on my world was focused on power and politics, you were passionate about creating something real, making a space truly yours. It was refreshing. The microwave chose that moment to attempt another coffee iteration, this time involving what appeared to be hot sauce. Though perhaps, Zorana added as they dodged the resulting spray, we should focus on your current space issues before exploring quantum physics or relationship dynamics. Agreed. Leon grabbed a broom, ready to attempt microwave wrangling. Any suggestions for catching a sentient appliance without alerting the neighbors? Zorana's eyes sparkled mischievously. Well, I do know this lovely quantum entanglement dance that might help. Looking at her radiant expression and the chaos their marriage had already brought to his formerly quiet life, Leon realized something surprising. For the first time since Astrid left, he wasn't just going through the motions. Every moment with Zorana brought something new, unexpected, and strangely wonderful, even if it sometimes involved anti-gravity incidents or sentient kitchen appliances. Maybe, he thought as they prepared to wrangle his newly conscious microwave, the universe knew exactly what it was doing when it dropped this beautiful, brilliant, slightly chaos-inducing alien princess through his roof. The microwave beeped what sounded suspiciously like a love song and released another shower of coffee grounds. Ready for your first lesson in quantum appliance containment, dear husband? Zorana asked, her skin glowing with excitement. Lead the way, space wife, Leon replied, surprising himself with how natural the term felt. Just try to keep the property damage to a minimum this time. No promises, she sang, beginning what looked like an elaborate interpretive dance. Now follow my movements exactly. This is how we establish a resonance field. As Leon found himself attempting to mirror her graceful gestures while dodging coffee-based experiments, he couldn't help but smile. Life with Zorana might be chaos, but it was exactly the kind of chaos he never knew he needed. After successfully containing the sentient microwave, which now sat contentedly in a corner, humming love songs and making perfect coffee, Zorana's skin shifted to a deep, rich purple Leon hadn't seen before. She moved closer to him, her bioluminescent eyes seeming to glow more intensely. "Now that we've handled the immediate crisis," she said, her voice taking on a musical quality that made his pulse quicken, "we should discuss another important aspect of our marriage. Let me guess, more quantum physics lessons?" Actually, her skin rippled with waves of warm pink. "On my world, a newly bonded pair must complete certain rituals of intimacy to properly seal their union." Leon's mouth went dry. "Rituals of intimacy?" "Oh, yes." She stepped closer, and he could feel a subtle vibration in the air between them. Physical contact initiates important biological processes that strengthen the bond. For instance, she reached up, tracing the line of his jaw with one finger, leaving a trail of tingling energy. "Even this simple touch is creating quantum resonance patterns between us." "Is that what that tingling is?" Leon asked, finding it increasingly difficult to focus on anything but her proximity. "Mm-hmm." Her skin pulsed with deeper colors. "But the most powerful resonance occurs through kissing. Would you like to test that theory, my dear husband?" Looking at her, Leon realized he very much would. The past day had been chaos. Yes, but wonderful chaos. Zorana had brought color and life back to his world, making even mundane moments feel magical. She was brilliant, beautiful, and completely unlike anyone he'd ever met. And somehow, impossibly, she'd chosen him. "For science?" he suggested, smiling. "For science," she agreed, her eyes sparkling. When their lips met, it was like touching lightning, but gentle lightning, if such a thing existed. Waves of warmth and energy passed between them as Zorana's skin lit up with swirling patterns of deep purple and rose. She made a soft sound of surprise and delight. When they finally parted, her skin was glowing brighter than he'd ever seen it, and she seemed slightly unsteady on her feet. "Oh," she breathed. "Oh my, that was unexpected." "Good unexpected or bad unexpected?" "Very good," she assured him, her voice husky. "But it seems I may have slightly underestimated the effect of Earth kisses on my species' biology. You see, physical intimacy triggers certain changes during our bonding season." "Changes?" "Enhanced emotional and physical responses, increased need for proximity, difficulty maintaining proper quantum stability." She pressed closer to him, her skin practically shimmering. "In other words, my dear husband, you've activated what humans might call my honeymoon mode. And that means—" "It means," she purred, pulling him down for another kiss, "that you're about to learn a lot more about alien biology than you ever expected." This kiss was even more intense than the first, sending sparks of energy dancing across his skin. Zorana's natural glow filled the room with soft purple light as she wound her arms around his neck. They were so absorbed in each other that neither noticed Mrs. Abernathy peering through her window next door, writing furiously in her neighborhood watch notebook about suspicious purple lights and unusual electromagnetic activity. But for once, Leon didn't care about nosy neighbors or property damage, or even the fact that his microwave was now playing what sounded suspiciously like romantic mood music. All that mattered was Zorana, her warmth, her light, and the way she made his whole world feel wonderfully, perfectly crazy. The universe, he decided as Zorana pulled him closer, definitely knew what it was doing. That evening, after their passionate kisses had evolved into something deeper, Zorana's entire body pulsed with waves of bioluminescence that lit up Leon's bedroom like an aurora borealis. Her skin shifted through a spectrum of purples and pinks he'd never seen before, creating patterns that seemed to dance in response to their intimacy. "I should warn you," she whispered between kisses, her voice carrying an otherworldly resonance. "During bonding, my species experiences intense energy fluctuations. What kind of Leon's question was cut short as Zorana's glow intensified, sending waves of pleasurable energy cascading through him. The sensation was unlike anything he'd ever experienced, like being wrapped in warm light that somehow touched every cell in his body. That kind, she said with a mischievous smile, her eyes radiating pure joy. Their first night together was a blend of human and alien intimacy, with Zorana's natural bioluminescence creating a light show that would have been visible from space, or at least from Mrs. Abernathy's kitchen window. The next morning, while Leon and Zorana were still lost in their post-bonding bliss, Mrs. Abernathy sat at her computer, uploading shaky phone footage to various social media platforms and news sites. Subject: alien sighting in suburban neighborhood. Attachment: purple lights, MP4. Message: last night, mysterious purple lights and unexplained energy phenomena were observed at 742 Maple Drive. The occupant, Leon Hayes, appears to be harboring an extraterrestrial being. Evidence includes violet-skinned woman with bioluminescent properties, floating appliances, unusual light displays, quantum physics lectures at 3 a.m. This is not a hoax. Contact for more information. Meanwhile, upstairs in Leon's bedroom, Zorana stretched contentedly, her skin still shimmering with afterglow. Your Earth methods of intimacy are surprisingly compatible with galactic bonding practices, she mused, tracing patterns of light across his chest. I'll take that as a compliment, Leon chuckled, still slightly dazed from the experience, though we might need to work on being less conspicuous. Why? She propped herself up on one elbow, genuinely puzzled. On my world, the bonding light show is considered a point of pride. The brighter the glow, the stronger the connection. Yes, but on Earth, we try to be more discreet about... Leon's explanation was interrupted by his phone buzzing frantically with news alerts. Breaking news. Alien activity reported in suburban neighborhood. Local woman claims evidence of extraterrestrial presence, mysterious purple lights, alien visitation, or elaborate hoax. Oh no, he groaned, showing Zorana the headlines. Mrs. Abernathy didn't waste any time. Zorana peered at the screen, her skin rippling with curiosity. She got my good side, though her description of quantum physics as suspicious alien chanting is rather inaccurate. This isn't funny. What are we going to do? Well, Zorana purred, her skin shifting to a seductive shade of violet. We could always give them another light show. Leon stared at the news headlines multiplying on his phone screen, then at his alien wife, who was currently making tiny hearts appear in her bioluminescent skin patterns just to make him smile. We need a plan, he said, trying to focus despite Zorana's distracting proximity. The media is going to be all over this. Less planning, more bonding, Zorana murmured, pulling him closer. Her skin pulsed with waves of warm light. The quantum resonance between us still needs strengthening. The whole neighborhood probably saw last night's quantum resonance, Leon pointed out, though he was finding it increasingly difficult to resist her touch. We looked like the Northern Lights. Is that bad? She traced a finger down his chest, leaving a trail of tingling energy. On my world, a spectacular bonding display is considered quite prestigious. Some couples spend years trying to achieve the level of resonance we managed on our first try. Yes, well, Earth isn't quite ready for... His words dissolved into a gasp as Zorana's skin flared with another wave of energy. That's not playing fair. All's fair in love and quantum physics, she quoted with a mischievous grin. I've been studying your Earth phrases. Their playful moment was interrupted by the sound of vehicles pulling up outside. Leon reluctantly extracted himself from Zorana's embrace and peeked through the curtains. News vans, he groaned. At least 3 of them. And, is that a government car? Zorana joined him at the window, her skin shifting to a more serious purple. Those look like standard-issue vehicles for your planet's secret organizations, similar to the ones I've observed in your conspiracy theory videos. You watch those too? Of course! Your drunk history of UFO sightings series was particularly entertaining, though I must say, your speculation about Stellar House's technology was adorably inaccurate. Before Leon could respond, his doorbell rang, then rang again, and again. "Mr. Hayes," called a voice that could only belong to Mrs. Abernathy. "Channel 5 News would like a word about your alien girlfriend." "Wife," Zorana corrected automatically, then brightened. "Oh, should we give them an interview? I could explain the fascinating principles behind interstellar marriage laws." "Absolutely not," Leon said firmly. "We need to keep you hidden until we figure this out." "Leon Hayes," Mrs. Abernathy's voice had reached new levels of shrill. "I have photographic evidence of unexplained phenomena. The public has a right to know." Zorana's skin rippled with amusement. "Your neighbor is quite persistent. Perhaps we should demonstrate some real, unexplained phenomena for her cameras." "Don't you dare," Leon warned, but he was fighting a smile. "No more light shows, no quantum physics lectures, and definitely no floating appliances." Speaking of appliances, his newly sentient microwave chose that moment to hover protectively in front of the door, emitting what sounded like warning beeps at the gathering crowd. "Your microwave is very loyal," Zorana observed proudly, "though its defensive capabilities might need upgrading if we're going to deal with Earth's media." "No upgrading the appliances." Leon ran a hand through his hair, trying to think. "We need to find a way to explain this that doesn't involve revealing you're an alien." "Well," Zorana said thoughtfully, her skin taking on a scholarly purple hue, "according to my research on Earth entertainment, humans are quite willing to accept unusual phenomena if it's labeled as a special effects or performance art." "That might actually work," Leon admitted. "We could say you're part of an elaborate marketing campaign or something." "Ooh, yes, I could be promoting a new quantum physics educational program. Through interpretive dance, of course. Let's keep quantum physics out of it for now." Leon pulled her close, marveling at how natural it felt. "Though I wouldn't mind a private demonstration later." Zorana's skin flushed a deep, happy pink. "Promise?" "Promise. But first we need to deal with—" A series of loud beeps from downstairs interrupted him, followed by surprised shouts and the sound of people scrambling back from his front door. "Zorana," Leon said slowly, "what exactly did you include in that microwave's defensive upgrades?" "Oh, nothing too dramatic," she assured him. "Just a small force field generator and some basic sonic deterrent capabilities. And possibly a very minor artificial intelligence upgrade. It's quite protective of its new family." "It's new? Are you saying my microwave thinks we're its parents?" "Well, technically, I did give it consciousness, and you did provide its original hardware." She gave him a sheepish look as her skin flickered with embarrassment. "Surprise! We're appliance parents." Leon couldn't help it. He laughed. Here he was, hiding from news crews with his alien wife, while their adoptive microwave child defended the house with sonic beeps. His life had become completely absurd, and somehow he was happier than he'd been in years. "You know," he said, pulling Zorana closer, "when Astrid left, I thought I'd lost my chance at an exciting life. I buried myself in renovation projects because they were safe, predictable. And now?" Zorana's skin swirled with patterns of affection and hope. "Now I'm married to a quantum physicist alien princess who makes my skin tingle with actual energy. My microwave has achieved sentience. And my nosy neighbor is probably writing a book about the whole thing." He brushed a strand of her luminescent hair back from her face. "And I wouldn't change any of it." "Not even the property damage?" "Well, maybe that part," he smiled. "But everything else. You've brought more life and wonder to my world in 2 days than I've experienced in years." Zorana's entire body lit up with joy, filling the room with soft purple light. "Does this mean you'll finally let me teach you the quantum tango?" "Let's deal with the media circus first," Leon laughed. "Then you can teach me all the physics-based dances you want." "Deal!" She sealed it with a kiss that sent sparks of energy dancing through both of them. "Though I should warn you, the tango might cause some minor fluctuations in local gravity." Downstairs, their microwave continued its valiant defense of the house, while Mrs. Abernathy's voice could be heard explaining to reporters about suspicious alien dance rituals and violations of the laws of physics. But up in their room, wrapped in Zorana's warm light and gentle energy, Leon couldn't bring himself to care about any of it. Let them speculate. Let them theorize. His life might have become completely crazy, but it was exactly the kind of crazy he needed. Besides, he thought as Zorana began humming what sounded suspiciously like the opening notes of the Quantum Tango, how many other home renovation vloggers could say they'd found true love through an alien falling through their roof? Are you absolutely sure about this? Leon asked, watching Zorana attempt to tone down her natural glow with what she called quantum camouflage. Her normally vibrant violet skin had dimmed to a more muted purple, though it still occasionally pulsed with light when she got excited. Of course! She adjusted the baseball cap covering her luminescent hair. I've studied countless Earth entertainment programs about meeting the parents. Though I must say, your species' courtship rituals are fascinatingly complex. Just remember, you're a dedicated cosplayer who never breaks character. That's why your skin is purple and occasionally glows. Yes, yes, I'm portraying a character from, what was it called again? Star Trek. We agreed you're a very committed Andorian cosplayer who's really into method acting. Zorana's skin flickered with amusement. The irony of pretending to be a fictional alien to hide that I'm a real alien is not lost on me. They were preparing for dinner with Leon's parents, who had insisted on meeting his mysterious new wife after hearing rumors about strange lights and sounds from their son's house. The local news coverage hadn't helped, though they'd managed to mostly convince the media that Zorana was part of an elaborate marketing campaign for a new sci-fi series. Remember what Leon said as they got into his car? No quantum physics lectures, no gravity manipulation, and definitely no upgrading their appliances, Zorana finished with a mock sigh, though their kitchen could probably benefit from some basic molecular restructuring. No restructuring anything, and try to keep the glowing to a minimum. You weren't complaining about my glowing last night, she teased, her skin briefly flaring pink before she got it under control. Leon felt his face heat up at the memory. Their quantum resonance sessions had only grown more intense as their bond strengthened, though they'd learned to contain the light show to their bedroom. Mostly, the drive to his parents' house was uneventful, apart from Zorana's fascination with Earth traffic lights. Such primitive but effective quantum state indicators, and her attempt to improve their car's radio reception through what she called minor frequency manipulation. As they pulled into his parents' driveway, Leon noticed something odd. That van across the street, is it just me, or does it look suspicious? Zorana's skin darkened with concern. Quantum scanning reveals advanced surveillance equipment. And those energy signatures, she tensed. We need to leave. Now. What? Why? Because those are Vex Thor's hunters. They found us. Before Leon could restart the car, bright beams of energy surrounded them, emanating from devices that looked suspiciously like satellite dishes mounted on the suspicious van. Well, Zorana said brightly, though her skin had shifted to a nervous lavender, I suppose we'll have to improvise. Improvise what? Our escape plan. Also, possibly dinner. Your parents are watching from the window. Sure enough, Leon's mother was waving enthusiastically from the front window, apparently oblivious to the high-tech alien surveillance equipment across the street. Perfect, Leon groaned. Just perfect. They made their way to the front door, Zorana doing her best to look like a normal human cosplayer, despite the energy beams tracking their movement. Leon's mother threw open the door before they could knock. There's my boy, Margaret Hayes exclaimed, pulling Leon into a hug. And this must be the famous Zorana we've been hearing so much about. She turned to study her alien daughter-in-law with keen interest. My, that makeup is remarkable. How long does it take to apply? Oh, it's not, Zorana caught herself. I mean, yes, many hours. I'm very dedicated to my cosplay. She never breaks character, Leon added quickly. Part of the whole marketing campaign thing I told you about. Well, come in. Come in. Your father's just finished grilling. He's been dying to meet the girl who's got our Leon, so worked up he's actually leaving the house again. They followed Margaret into the house, painfully aware of the surveillance van outside. Zorana's skin kept flickering between nervous purple and alert indigo, though Leon's parents seemed to attribute it to clever LED effects. Robert Hayes was manning the grill on the back patio, wearing his signature Kiss the Cook's Quantum Fluctuations apron. A gag gift from Leon that had suddenly become ironically appropriate. So, Robert said as they sat down to eat, Leon tells us you're in performance art? Advanced quantum physics education through interpretive dance, Zorana replied automatically, then winced at Leon's subtle headshake. I mean, yes, performance art. Very Earth-based performance art. Fascinating, Margaret leaned forward. And that lovely glow effect? Is it fiber optics? Before Zorana could launch into an explanation of bioluminescent quantum resonance, a series of sharp beeps interrupted them. Leon's eyes widened as he recognized the sound. Please tell me you didn't bring the microwave, he whispered to Zorana. Of course not, she whispered back. It followed us. It's very protective of its family unit. Sure enough, their sentient microwave had somehow tracked them to the Hayes residence and was now hovering protectively near the patio door, emitting warning beeps at the surveillance van. Oh my, Margaret said faintly. That's quite an elaborate special effect. Part of the marketing campaign, Leon said weakly. Very high-tech stuff. Speaking of high-tech, Robert mused, that van across the street has been there all evening. Rather odd-looking equipment they've got. As if on cue, the van's side door slid open, revealing several figures in sleek black armor. They raised what were definitely not Earth weapons. Mr. and Mrs. Hayes, Zorana said calmly, her skin shifting to battle-ready purple. I apologize in advance for what's about to happen to your patio furniture. What do you mean? Robert's question was cut off as Zorana grabbed the dinner table and flipped it sideways, creating a barrier just as energy blasts started flying. Leon, dear, Margaret said with remarkable composure as she ducked behind the overturned table. I don't suppose this is also part of the marketing campaign. Not exactly, Leon admitted as their microwave began returning fire with surprisingly effective energy pulses. Mom, Dad, I should probably mention that Zorana isn't actually a cosplayer. Really? Robert watched in fascination as Zorana used what appeared to be a quantum-enhanced salad fork to deflect an energy blast. We never would have guessed. She's actually my alien wife, Leon continued, ducking as another energy blast scorched the patio. We got married according to galactic law when she fell through my roof. It's a long story. An alien, Margaret repeated, watching Zorana gracefully dodge attacks while her skin pulsed with combat-ready purple light. Well, that explains the unusual glow. And here I thought it was just very good cosplay. I always said you needed to get out more, Robert added cheerfully, as if alien bounty hunters weren't currently destroying his backyard. Though I admit, I was thinking more along the lines of joining a book club. Less talking, more quantum shielding, Zorana called out, tossing Leon what looked like a heavily modified TV remote. I upgraded this while your mother was showing me family photos. Point and press. Leon aimed the remote at an approaching hunter and pressed. A burst of purple energy shot out, encasing the attacker in what appeared to be a bubble of stop time. Nice shot, dear, Margaret praised. Though you might want to adjust your aim slightly to the left, the temporal displacement seems a bit uneven. Everyone stared at her. What? She shrugged. I read physics journals for fun. Speaking of which, Zorana, I'd love to discuss your quantum mechanics theories over coffee sometime. Assuming we survive this, of course. I knew I liked your parents, Zorana beamed, her skin glowing with approval as she used the quantum-enhanced salad fork to redirect another energy blast. Their sentient microwave was proving surprisingly effective in combat, zipping around the yard emitting defensive force fields and what sounded suspiciously like angry, beeping versions of action movie theme songs. You know, Robert mused, calmly ducking an energy blast, this reminds me of how your mother and I met, though in our case, it was just her angry ex throwing plates, not quantum weapons. Dad, really not the time. Actually, Zorana interrupted, combining her fork's quantum field with the microwave's defenses to create a larger shield. I'd love to hear that story. Earth courtship rituals are fascinating. Well, Margaret began, using a serving tray to deflect a stray blast with remarkable skill. It was the summer of '82, and I was working at this little diner. Mom, alien battle happening. Multitask, dear, his mother advised, picking up a fallen hunter's weapon and examining it with interest. Oh, this is lovely. Zorana, is this a standard issue Stellar House's phase disruptor? Actually, it's a knockoff. Vex Thor's hunters always use cheap equipment. Zorana's nose wrinkled in disgust. No respect for proper quantum engineering. The battle continued, with the Hayes family proving surprisingly adaptable to alien combat. Robert used his grilling tongs to great effect as impromptu weapons, while Margaret's knowledge of physics helped her quickly master the alien technology. Their microwave had taken to performing what could only be described as attack patterns from space movies, complete with sound effects. It seemed particularly proud when it managed to recreate the Imperial March while simultaneously trapping two hunters in a force field. "You've trained it well," Margaret commented to Zorana as they regrouped behind the remains of the patio furniture, "though its quantum resonance could use a bit of fine-tuning." "I've been meaning to upgrade its core processor," Zorana admitted, "but Leon has this thing about not modifying appliances." "Oh, honey," Margaret patted Leon's arm. "You can't expect a stellar house's princess to live with Earth-level technology. Why, I bet she hasn't even shown you the real capabilities of quantum household management yet." You know about the stellar houses?" Leon gaped at his mother. "Who do you think has been leaving all those quantum mechanics journals in the dentist's office?" She winked. "Some of us have been preparing for alien contact for years." The battle at the Hayes family dinner ended with Vexthor's forces overwhelming them, despite the valiant efforts of their combat-trained microwave and Margaret's surprisingly effective use of alien weaponry. Zorana and Leon found themselves transported to a massive space station orbiting Earth, the local courthouse of the Galactic Consortium. The courtroom looked like something out of both a science fiction movie and a bureaucrat's fever dream. Holographic displays showed countless regulations in various alien languages, while beings from across the galaxy filed paperwork in seemingly endless lines. The Galactic Consortium Marriage Tribunal will now hear the case of Vexthor Industries versus Earth resident Leon Hayes, announced a being that appeared to be made entirely of floating light. Regarding the disputed marriage claim to Princess Zorana of the Stellar Houses. Vexthor himself was everything Leon imagined a corporate space villain would be: sleek, cybernetically enhanced, and radiating smug superiority. "This is a simple matter," he declared. "The Earth primitive has no standing under galactic law. My marriage contract with Princess Zorana was filed in triplicate across 3 star systems." "Actually," Leon spoke up, surprising himself with his steady voice, "I'd like to present evidence regarding the validity of our marriage under both Earth and galactic standards." The tribunal's attention focused on him. Leon pulled out his laptop, thankful he'd brought it to his parents' dinner. First, regarding galactic law, Section 7, subsection 3.14, concerning noble marriages. He pulled up a detailed analysis he'd compiled during late-night research sessions with Zorana. The law states that a noble of the stellar houses may claim marriage rights when rescued by an eligible partner. The key word here is rescued. "What's your point, Earthman?" Vexthor sneered. "My point is that I have documented evidence of providing sanctuary to Princess Zorana, including..." He played a series of clips from his home security system, showing him helping Zorana adapt to Earth life, protecting her from detection, and even their quantum physics dance lessons. Furthermore, Leon continued, pulling up more files, Earth marriage laws require evidence of genuine relationship development and commitment. I present Exhibit A, Mrs. Abernathy's surveillance logs. Mrs. Abernathy herself had been brought in as a witness, clutching her neighborhood watch notebook proudly. "Oh yes," she testified. "I've been documenting everything. The way they share ice cream on the porch at midnight. How he listens to her explain quantum mechanics for hours. The floating appliances are a bit unusual, but you can't fake the way they look at each other." "Is this true?" The light-being judge turned to Zorana. "Did you intentionally choose this Earth resident?" Zorana's skin glowed with deep, honest purple. "Yes," she admitted. "I'd been monitoring Earth broadcasts, trying to understand human culture. Then I found Leon's renovation videos." The courtroom's holographic screens filled with clips from Leon's vlogs. Him excitedly explaining proper wiring techniques, celebrating small victories over stubborn pipes, talking about making a home something special. While everyone in the stellar houses was focused on power and politics, Zorana continued, her skin pulsing with emotion, Leon cared about creating something real. He put his heart into everything, even if it wasn't perfect. I watched him spend hours trying to save original woodwork that others would have replaced. He talked to his viewers like friends, sharing both successes and failures. She turned to face the tribunal directly. I didn't just fall through his roof by accident. I calculated the exact quantum trajectory to land there. Because in all my research of Earth, I never found anyone who showed such genuine passion, care, and determination, even if it was just about home renovation. The courtroom buzzed with murmurs as Zorana's confession echoed through the chamber. Their sentient microwave, which had somehow managed to follow them to space, beeped supportively from the gallery. "This is absurd," Vexthor protested. "A noble of the stellar houses choosing an Earth renovator over the CEO of the largest quantum technology corporation in 3 sectors?" Actually, Margaret Hayes spoke up from where she sat with Robert in the witness section. "If we're discussing quantum technology," she proceeded to launch into a detailed analysis of the quantum modifications Zorana had made to their household appliances, demonstrating a surprisingly thorough understanding of galactic engineering principles. The light-being judge's glow shifted to what might have been intrigue. "These modifications show considerable skill and creativity, and you say this was done to integrate with Earth technology?" "Oh yes," Mrs. Abernathy chimed in, flipping through her notebook. "I have detailed observations of their technological collaboration. Did you know their microwave can now prepare perfect coffee while playing classical music and maintaining a defensive force field?" The microwave beeped proudly, demonstrating its capabilities by serving quantum-enhanced espresso to the entire courtroom. "But more than that," Leon added, standing beside Zorana, "we've built something real together, something that transcends both Earth and galactic laws." He pulled up one final video on the holographic display, security footage from their home, showing quiet moments between repairs and adventures. Zorana teaching him the quantum tango in their living room, both laughing as they accidentally created a temporary anti-gravity field. Late nights spent on the porch, her skin glowing softly as she explained the mysteries of the universe while they shared ice cream. The way they worked together during the battle at his parents' house, moving in perfect sync despite the chaos. "Love isn't about perfect paperwork or corporate mergers," Leon addressed the tribunal. "It's about finding someone who makes your world bigger, brighter, and wonderfully crazy. Someone who sees the potential in what you're building, even if it's just an old house or a sentient microwave." Zorana's skin pulsed with deep, warm purple as she took his hand. "And sometimes," she added, "it's about finding someone who cares more about saving original woodwork than acquiring power in 3-star systems." The light-being judge seemed to expand, filling the courtroom with a gentle radiance. "The tribunal has heard sufficient evidence. Under both Earth and galactic law, we find the marriage between Leon Hayes and Princess Zorana to be valid and binding. Furthermore," the being's light flickered with what might have been amusement, "we grant Earth provisional protected status as a developing quantum civilization, based on the impressive modifications to household appliances documented by Margaret Hayes and Mrs. Abernathy." "What?" Vexthor sputtered. "You can't—" "Case dismissed," the judge declared, "though we would appreciate regular updates on the progress of Earth's quantum-enhanced home renovation technology." 6 months later, Leon and Zorana stood on their newly repaired roof, surveying their handiwork. The shingles now incorporated subtle quantum stabilizers, while solar panels doubled as emergency force field generators, all approved by both the HOA and the Galactic Consortium. "You know," Leon said, watching Zorana's skin shimmer in the sunset, "when you first fell through this roof, I thought my life was falling apart. And now?" She leaned against him, her glow warming his side. "Now I know it was falling into place." He smiled as their microwave hovered nearby, serving them perfectly temperature-controlled drinks while humming what sounded like their wedding song. "Though we should probably discuss school soon, I saw you looking at those Galactic Academy brochures. Well, any child of ours will need a proper quantum physics education," Zorana mused, her hand resting unconsciously on her slightly rounded belly, where their future daughter was growing. "Though perhaps we could find a nice Earth school with a good science program. As long as they're ready for a student who might occasionally glow during math class," Leon laughed. Zorana's skin pulsed with mischief as she accidentally created another small hole in the roof, with a controlled quantum burst. "Oops," she said, not looking sorry at all. "Looks like we need to do more repairs." "You did that on purpose." "Maybe." She pulled him close for a kiss that lit up the evening sky. "Just keeping our renovation story going. After all, that's how you fell in love with me." "Pretty sure I fell in love with the crazy alien who turned my life upside down," Leon corrected. "The home improvement videos just gave you a good excuse to crash through my roof." Their microwave beeped in agreement, projecting a holographic heart above them as Mrs. Abernathy watched from her window, dutifully recording another day in the life of her favorite interdimensional couple. And if the neighborhood occasionally lit up with purple light or experienced localized gravity fluctuations, well, that was just part of the charm of having a quantum physics princess marry the local renovation vlogger. Some things, after all, were written in the stars, or at least in the HOA bylaws, which now included specific provisions for alien technology and sentient appliances. Dear friends, sometimes the most extraordinary love stories begin with a hole in the roof. In sharing Leon and Zorana's tale, we wanted to remind you that magic can crash into our lives when we least expect it, sometimes quite literally. This story isn't just about an alien princess and a renovation vlogger finding love. It's about how life's biggest disruptions can become our greatest blessings. It's about how the mundane can become magical when seen through new eyes, and how true connection transcends all boundaries, even interstellar ones. For those of you feeling stuck in routines like Leon was after Astrid left, remember that the universe has a way of shaking things up just when we need it most. Maybe your Zorana won't arrive via quantum portal, though who are we to say she won't? But transformation often comes in the most unexpected packages. And for those already living their own version of this story, embracing the chaos, learning alien quantum physics, or just trying to explain to the neighbors why your appliances are floating, know that you're not alone. Love in all its forms has a way of making even the craziest situations feel like home. Remember, sometimes the best renovations aren't just about fixing what's broken, but about creating space for something wonderfully new. Whether you're repairing a roof, healing a heart, or bridging the gap between galaxies, the most important thing is being open to the possibility of magic. So keep your eyes on the stars, but don't forget to check your roof occasionally. You never know when your own quantum physics princess might drop in. And if your microwave starts showing signs of consciousness, well, just make sure it feels loved. Family comes in all forms, even the quantum-enhanced appliance kind. With love from Earth to the stars, your Sci-Fi Lore Vault PS, Mrs. Abernathy wants you to know she's still watching, and she's taking notes. Always taking notes.